Hey all, Bree from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by my co-host, Bree Tucker.
Why, hello, everybody. How are you?
We're settling into pumpkin spice season, Bree.
Yes, it is. It's fall. I love my pumpkin spice. I've got my pumpkin spice cookies. I've got my pumpkin spice coffee. I am living the pumpkin spice
really
life.
Like your happy place, because every time it's your grounding. Like when you're upset, you ground yourself in pumpkin spice.
I do. And it's funny because I do it all year long.
Yeah.
Like I make myself some pumpkin. I know how to make my pumpkin spice lattes on my stovetop. Mm-hmm. So like as long as I can get myself a can of pumpkin, I'm good. And my other one is peppermint. So like really, we're heading into Bree's home stretch.
Yeah.
Fall and winter, like I just love September, October, November, December. That's my favorite time of the year.
Oh, yeah. It's my husband's too. But I mean, you guys are both fall babies.
Yes.
October,
yes.
like just days apart, you and my husband.
I'm a Libra.
Yeah.
Gotta enjoy all that. And then plus, you know what? I'll be honest with you, the other part of it. We live in a very, very hot part of the country.
Yes.
It is finally tolerable.
It is.
Like, I mean, like, it's the only place I've ever lived that your Halloween costumes are dictated by how well they breathe.
Oh, it is true. Like you can't wear anything hot.
Oh, yeah,
anything.
Yeah. My kids like almost passed out a few times on Halloween when they tried to wear stuff that was too complicated.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, and then I grew up in the Midwest where like you had to find an outfit for Halloween that could fit a winter coat under it and not look too weird.
Yeah, we don't have that problem out in Arizona.
No, out here it's like, stay hydrated, kids.
Once I bought my son a puppy costume when he was 1 year old, and it was the cutest little puppy costume in the world, but it was so darn hot. Like he could only wear it indoors, and he only lasted 2 houses trick-or-treating because he started sweating and literally melting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, melting down and sweating, melting at the same time. So
it's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And we have Halloween coming up this weekend on a Sunday this year.
Oh, man. Like, it doesn't matter what day of the week it falls. It's always going to be something fun. And, like, I always just let the kids stay up late and just do whatever. And it's interesting because I actually don't care for Halloween too much. I never liked dressing up. Maybe it was because I always had to put a big fat coat under my outfit.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it rained a lot too in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. We've always had good weather because I grew up in Tucson, just like a few hours south of Phoenix. And we've always had good weather for Halloween. It's hot.
I know,
clear.
right? It's so funny. Like we get excited when it's below 100 out here for Halloween. We're like, yes, options.
Yes. So sometimes though, when you get like big groups of kids together for Halloween, you might have some drama.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if they are preteens or teens.
Yeah. There's always a little issue. And today we are going to teach you how to deal with drama between kids. It's something that I did not do as a teacher. In fact, I really refined this when I became a Girl Scout leader. And when we started No Guilt Mom, and I researched with all like the parenting experts, and especially Tina Payne Bryson and Dr. Dan Siegel, in their interpersonal neurobiology is what it's called, the field that they specialize in, as to how to solve this drama. And you know what? It works.
I know. You guys are going to just absolutely love this episode. It's phenomenal because it's a true story, man.
Yes.
True story. Use the techniques and they worked. And I got to say, our Girl Scout troop, it's a group of a lot of personalities.
Yeah. So we're going to teach you how to deal with that drama between kids and give you some step-by-step ways that you can approach every dramatic situation that you come across.
Hey, Joanne, have you heard about the new family organizing app, Cozy?
So I have heard of Cozy, but you started using it.
Yes. Okay. I love this thing. It works great for my household. I am a divorced mom. I do my kids 50-50 with their dad, and it has been insane trying to keep track of our schedules, but Cozy makes it so easy.
I bet, like, just the things you were telling me about your kids, like, needing groceries for the week they're with you, but no way to get the list to you. And
Right?
you can do it in Cozy.
Yes, I can totally do that. So like my kids can put in there when they need something from the grocery store for the next week, or like, hey, Mom, I'm out of face wash. I need you to go pick up some face wash. They just put it right in the app.
See, that's such a time saver, I think, for me. Like, I am looking forward to getting Cozy, and it is available for free in the App Store. Just download Cozy, that's COZI, to get the free app today, and you can have your family as organized as Bree's getting hers.
Yes, it's phenomenal.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
So over the summer, we took our Girl Scout troop to Disneyland. And these were girls like that have been together since second grade, and they're eighth grade at the time.
And I would even say some of them since kindergarten.
Some of them since kindergarten.
Some of them have known
school.
each other since actually preschool even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of them went to preschool together. So needless to say, it's a long relationship
Yes.
with lots of history.
Yes. And usually as adults, when we see kids arguing, we want to step in and solve it for them right away.
Well, I think part of it is not only the factor that, we know when they're being trite and it's trivial arguments and we're just like, move on, get over it. But there's also the factor of, I don't know, I would think that it's the same for many of us parents. Like, I can't handle it. It's like nails on chalkboard.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me a physical response of anxiety. And I'm uncomfortable. My heart starts racing. My blood pressure starts going up. And it's like, dude, I'm not even the one in the fight.
Well, that's really good that you recognize that because, okay, there's two things you said there. First, it's trivial. And that's a lot what parents and adults see in kid drama. But the kids don't think it's trivial.
Exactly.
And so when we really try to gloss over it and say, like, that's not a big deal, you just need to forget it, it usually doesn't work because the kids are like, what do you mean? It is a big deal.
Right.
And their concerns aren't met. And so the problem never gets solved.
Yeah, it kind of comes back to like, how would you feel if you were upset about something and the person that you were talking to or someone that you were trying to get emotional support from said, well, that's just stupid.
Like, you just got to get
Shouldn't
over
have
it.
worked up over that.
Yeah.
Would that not like crush you and make you feel upset?
It does. It totally makes you feel upset.
And also like that person doesn't know what they're talking about. So click, ears off.
Yes. And also know that, like, us thinking it's trivial, that is our own emotions. We do need a spot to get those emotions out. So when you have a group of kids fighting around you, definitely like go to your parenting partner, go to your friends and be like, I cannot believe they are arguing about this. This is so dumb.
Right. It's your mommy texting friends.
Yes.
You're just like side swipe texting for a moment. OMG, help me, please.
Yes.
And we're all like, gotcha.
Those are your emotions and you have a right to those emotions and you should definitely get them out with someone because they are valid.
Right.
They're
right.
totally valid. However, when we talk to our kids about them, know that our kids' emotions are valid as well.
Yes.
And when we go to them, we're looking to help them problem solve. And we can't do that if we haven't first been given the breathing room to get our own emotions out with somebody.
Exactly.
So know that they're valid. We do not want you to like squash your own emotions whatsoever. You need to get those out. So I'll tell you a little story about what happened. And I'm going to take you step by step through the thinking through the story. So
I'm over here laughing quietly, like trying not to giggle into the mic because I know this. I wasn't there, people.
Yeah.
For starters, it's rare, but I wasn't there on this one trip. But I swear I can picture the whole thing frame by frame because I know everybody involved. And I'm like, yup.
So we had 13 girls. And when you have a big group of kids, there's little like groups that form in it. Like it's unavoidable. When you have that many people, you have to form groups just for efficiency's sake. And so that night we were in California Adventure one day and then Disneyland the next day. And part of the girls wanted to ride the soaring over, it's called Soaring Over the World. I keep wanting to call it Soaring Over California, but it's not that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's called, Brie calls it the most terrifying ride in the world.
Soarin'?
Yes.
So what? It's like the screen? You're in front of a screen?
And you're up off the floor and it feels like you're over water and mountains, Joanne.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
People that have
That's another episode.
People that have deathly fears of heights. Hopefully y'all are out there
it.
and someone can give me a thumbs up, but that is a scary ride.
Got it. So part of the group wanted to go to Soarin' Over California, and the other part of the group wanted to ride the Guardians of the Galaxy Death Drop again.
Okay, another scary ride. Both. Okay, sorry. The whole group of Girl Scouts were just crazy. They were just crazy.
I did like the Guardians of the Galaxy Death Drop. It was more fun than I realized it would be, but. So we had two groups, and the Soarin' Over the World line had most of the adults in it. I mean, they're 8th graders, so we trusted them to go off in the park alone because they had cell phones and we were messaging the entire time. So it had most of the adults in it, and right when we got on the ride, this group who'd went to Guardians was like, hey, they're texting one of the other adults, hey, we're going to go on this ride. It was the rafting ride that...
Whitewater.
Whitewater, yes. But this is an important note.
Oh.
This was the ride that the entire group voted to go on together. Like this was the ending the day at the park ride.
This was the finale.
The finale. So this Guardians of the Galaxy group, they got done early and they're like, hey, can we just head over there to the ride? And the adults like, sure, yeah, no big deal. Well, that's when it started. Because the part of the group that was on Soarin' got off Soarin', we ran over to the rafting ride. The park was about to close and we saw this group had already gone on the ride and then was going through a second time.
Wah, wah, wah.
So this group who was on Soarin' was mad. They were like upset. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't wait for us. And if you look back at it, well, guess what? Guess whose fault it was that they didn't wait? It was the adults who took responsibility, who gave them permission to go on it. But the other group, the group of girls, thought they were personally wronged by this.
Right. They felt just so betrayed.
Yes, but did they talk about it with them?
No,
they don't have that. They don't have that communication. And we as adults were like, okay, well, it's no big deal. They went on once. They're going to go on again.
Yeah.
So it festered overnight. And then we went to Disneyland the next day. And our plan in Disneyland was to go on Rise of the Skywalker. Like immediately go on this ride. So we all go on the ride. There was no line at the beginning. We get off and one group took a little longer than the other group. Mm-hmm. So this other group was waiting out front and they're like, well, there's no line. We're going to go on it again. And then you could see where this is going because...
Was it the same group that went on the other ride twice?
Yes, it was the same group.
How are they so Speedy Gonzalez with the lines?
And so the second group comes out. They're like, where are they? They didn't wait for us again?
Oh, ouch.
So then it started where you could hear like the little talk back and forth. I can't believe they didn't wait for us. I can't believe this. Why are they so inconsiderate? What? And you just like, you could hear them talking back and forth with each other in the line.
And you can see the body language probably going too.
You can see the body language.
Backs turned, arms crossed, I bet.
And as an adult, we're like, guys, it's a group of 13. Like, they're going to go on it on their own. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no. They would not let it go. And you could just see like in their interactions, like they would be a little snippy with each other and they would like talk about each other behind their backs.
Oh, and let me guess, there were eye rolls too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there were eye rolls. There were everything.
Eye rolls a la mode.
So I could see this happening and I'm like, okay, we need to like discuss this. Now, as a teacher before, I would have gotten them together and I would have been like, listen, like we're supposed to be having fun here. Like this is ridiculous.
And I think that's where a lot of us as parents would go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to nip it in the bud. Mm-hmm. We're going to tell them what they need to know, which is that they are being silly and petty. Everybody just needs to get over it and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Because we wouldn't like it if someone did that to us.
Exactly. So in our class, Calm and Happy Parenting, we teach the HAPPY framework. And HAPPY stands for H, have priorities. A, appreciate your kid's point of view, which is usually this part that we as adults skip over. The first P is process your own emotions. The second P is problem solving. And then the Y is yield the work. So that means really yield the responsibility for whatever was decided in problem solving. So we're going to take you through that happy framework as to exactly how I sat down with them with the problem. My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused minigame quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org. This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Bree, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM. Okay, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing was we brought them together and we went through the H, the have priorities. And part of have priorities is we have to recognize the problem, and then I brought them together for a solution, because the priority, it's always the relationship. It's never the problem.
Right, exactly.
So we need to make sure that we define whatever is impacting that relationship and that we bring them together to discuss it. And when we bring kids together, your role as an adult isn't to be like, this is petty, this should be solved this way. Your role is to make sure that everybody is heard.
Your job is just to moderate.
Yeah.
To make sure everybody gets a fair shot to say what they need to say.
Exactly. So I brought them together. I sat them down. I said, hey, I noticed a little bit of tension here. Who wants to talk about this?
And let me guess, silence.
Yeah, they all stare at me.
Crickets.
They all stare at me. And so then I look to one of the most vocal people and I'll be like, hey, you were saying that you were a little upset about this. Can you tell us a little more? And of course, then once that person's given the floor, she's like, yes.
I love that.
And that brings us to the second part of happy. Appreciate your kids' concerns, which is let them speak. And when they speak, though, you really have to monitor their speaking as they're not assigning blame to someone else, that they're only talking about their own feelings.
So what I'm hearing is your job then at that point is to moderate, to make sure that nobody's attacking the other person.
Exactly. Like, so-and-so is mad at us and I don't know why they're mad at us. So that wouldn't be productive.
No.
What is productive is saying, okay, I was upset that you went on this ride without us.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a productive thing. And then once you allow someone to speak, other people are going to be like, I have an opinion.
Of course, especially if they are 13, 14,
Yes.
15, 16, 17, like anything around there.
Or they're going to want to interrupt. And they're going to be like, that is not true.
Yeah.
And then your job as the adult be like, wait, you will have a turn to speak. Let them speak and let them get everything out. So you have two roles right here. First, you're making sure that the person speaking is only talking about their own feelings, not assigning blame to others. And you're also giving them an uninterrupted chance.
And let me just throw out there too, like there's two really important life skills right there that you're letting the children practice. You're letting them practice clearly communicating their thoughts and patience
Yes.
and respect.
Yes.
So those are huge. I mean, tell me any parent that doesn't feel like that's a huge important thing for your kid. I don't think anybody is going to say that, oh, I really don't care if my kid knows how to show patience or respect or how to communicate clearly. We all want that. So just that little bit right there. Huge.
Yeah. And so then once one person talks, you let the opposing view talk. And what's very, very interesting is what you'll find is that the two sides are not even listening to each other.
I know this is my favorite part of the story.
They are so stuck in their own perception of the problem that they have not even considered someone else's point of view. So when the other person starts talking, they will do it all from their own viewpoint, which is totally developmentally appropriate. Like, kids are very egotistical, and I don't mean that in a shameful way. I mean it in a human development way.
Yeah, it's a developmental stage.
It's a developmental stage, exactly. So this other person started talking, and they're like, well, we waited for them, and we got out of the ride, and then they weren't there, and da-da-da-da-da-da. They just go on and on. This is when I stop them, and I'm like, wait, before you start talking, repeat what they said. And they look at me, and they're like, what? And they can't repeat it.
Right.
They can't repeat it at all. They have no idea what that person said. And so I went back to that first person, like, can you say again what you said? And she repeats it. And then the opposing side, I'm not giving names here. This is why. It's very hard to tell a story when I don't give names.
Child A, child B, child C.
B, yes.
There you go. So child A said her point of view.
Yep.
Now you go to child B and you're trying to get them to repeat. And what does child B do?
Cannot repeat it. Has no idea what child A said.
Like, thinks they do, though.
Yes, thinks they do, and is immediately trying to refute it, because kids will always try to refute it not to get in trouble.
So, like, a lot of times, like, what you hear is they'll pick up on what they feel happened. So, like, they'll say, yeah, I know what they said. Child A said that they were mad because I went on the ride. Mm-hmm.
No, that's not why they're mad.
No, that's not why they're
mad.
mad.
And that's exactly what happened. So child A then repeated it, and child B was like, they're mad because we went on the ride. We got to go on it twice. And I'm like, no, that's not it. And so child B looks at me. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, listen again. And child A repeated for the second time. And then child B is like, oh, because we promised we'd go on the ride and we went on it. And immediately when child B was like, oh, like you could see the body language turn from something of being really defensive to being like, okay, like that's what happened and I totally understand it now.
Right.
And they didn't before. And it wasn't that they were in trouble. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a miscommunication between the two parties, and how that very simple thing of it was breaking a promise that they were upset about, not the going on rides, that they're like, got it.
Right.
I can understand why they're upset.
Right. Because, again, in child B's perspective, they still rode it with them.
Yeah.
It was just their third time on.
Exactly.
Yeah. And has anybody else, I mean, out there, like, come on, have any of us ever been upset when you didn't get to experience something for the first time with someone that you wanted to? Mm-hmm. You find out that you're their third, fourth, fifth time doing it, and you're like, oh, man,
why did you wait for me?
That sucks.
So we brought them together. We kept their relationship priority. That's the A of happy. We just went through appreciating your kids' concerns or appreciating the other party's concerns, which is the A, the add, like appreciate. And then we processed our own concerns in there. And when you're kind of mediating in this, processing your own concerns is just helping them realize exactly what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's not that you went on the ride twice. It's that you broke the promise that you were going to ride the ride with them.
Right.
And rephrasing that. And so then once the problem's clearly defined and once both sides really realize what it is, you can move into that second P of happy, which is problem solving.
Woohoo!
How can we prevent this problem from happening in the future? And what was really, really funny is that's when the adult came and was like, hey, like there's 13 girls or 6 adults, like Disneyland for 17 people is very hard.
Exactly, it is. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. It's a tough scenario that we are working with, people.
It's tough. And it's not a realistic solution to go on every ride together. Mm-hmm. And the girls agreed with that. They're like, yeah, it's totally not a realistic solution. But something else we found is that we adults had to step out of their communication because we're the ones who messed it up. Like, let's just be honest.
Because had the conversation been with the other kid, like had it been between the girls, they probably would have said, no, it's not okay for you to go on the Roaring Rivers.
Yeah.
Not saying that there would have been a whole nother fight probably that would have occurred.
Might have.
But at least that communication it could have been dealt with at that moment rather than festering.
Or they could have been like messaged. They'd be like, we really want to go on it with you the first time.
Yeah.
And I bet the other group would have been like, got it. Okay, we will wait for you.
You know what? And they probably would have gone on the other ride twice. The other scary, terrifying ride that Bree just like wants to throw up every time we mention.
Mm-hmm.
The drop.
But we were dealing with something where the girls were so used to coming to adults to ask for permission that they weren't communicating with each other. And so that's something that we adults, when we were in that conversation, we're like, oh, okay, we need to stay out of this.
But I think that's also something that happens a lot with kids these days. Like, I think that they are not as comfortable or used to talking with one another. And so they do tend to come to us parents. Like, I can't even count how many times that my kids will still come to me and be like, hey, can you call so-and-so's mom and ask if we can go hang out? And I'm like, you are in 9th grade.
Yes.
Do that yourself.
I do that too now.
Or 8th grade. Do that yourself, dude. You come to me and ask me if it works for me to go pick up and drop off, but you don't need to be asking me to call people for you.
Yeah.
Or in general, I think that kids are much more comfortable coming to adults than their friends a lot of times in a lot of scenarios.
They are.
And we really need to push that back to no, come on, people. We don't want to be the mediators for the rest of our lives, nor can we.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
But I think you're exactly right. Kids are more comfortable coming to us than they're comfortable with coming to their peers. Mm-hmm. And so giving them that practice of communicating with their peers. And like, we had a group chat going on in Disneyland. So it's one of those things where we as adults were just inserting ourselves where we didn't need to, because all the girls saw everyone else's message.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't the issue of getting like the message to them. It was that we were inserting ourselves.
Got it.
And so we agreed that we adults would not insert ourselves in the conversation. Like, if somebody came up and asked, hey, can we go do this? We'd be like, you know what? Let's put it to the group.
Yeah.
And that's the solution we came to, that if they wanted to go on a ride that we agreed on beforehand without other people, that they would then text the group.
Yeah.
Hey, Aubrey here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke? And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase.
We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays, because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
And so that brought us to the last part of happy, which is why. It's yield the work. And that's sometimes the hardest step, because we've agreed on this problem solving solution, but we then have to stick to it.
Right. And let me just be clear, because I think that some people might hear this and be like, wait, so you just let the kids like go hog wild and do whatever and you weren't even paying attention? No, we were paying attention. And if it was a matter of safety, you could insert yourself. You would insert yourself. But in general, the girls had to figure out to work through it.
And no, it was only this specific problem I was yielding the work to. It was the whole like asking if you can go on a ride and an adult giving you permission to go for it. Especially when the group had decided beforehand that they wanted to go there. So like immediately 30 minutes after we had this solution and everyone was good, I biffed it. I made a mistake. I was asked again, oh, can we go on Pirates of the Caribbean? And me in the adult mode, I was like, yeah, sure, we can go on Pirates. And the group brought it back and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that, Joanne. And I'm like, you're
right.
Totally right. And I gave my apology to all of them. I always like it when I make a mistake because I can then model my apology.
But it's also a really great sign of a strong relationship too, and trust that the girls were able to come back to you and say, hey, as a person of authority, as an adult, as the troop leader, hey, you weren't supposed to do that. And you showed them that it's okay to voice that in a respectful way to you. You were able to come back in a respectful way to them and be like, dude, I'm human. I make mistakes. I am sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is huge.
It's
so
huge.
many more life lessons right there.
But this is like, it's going through this process gives you that respect that you so want as an adult.
Yeah.
And it's much harder than we think because a lot of times as an adult, we think, oh, we're the adult. We should just get the respect regardless. But to get the respect, you have to like make yourself vulnerable and put yourself in a vulnerable position of being wrong. And that does not feel good. Like I did not feel good when I made that mistake and was called out on it. Like I felt horrible about it. I'm getting better now over time, accepting that responsibility and not feeling as bad, but it didn't feel wonderful.
Well, I can say, in the moment, like I would feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
A little bit like, well, embarrassed would be probably the biggest one for me of like, ugh, God, I just said that. But, you know, like you just said, like we all have to be able to show that we have to show our kids you can make mistakes and you can fix them and you can move through them. And feeling shame or feeling embarrassed or whatever, it's an emotion. You work through it, you move forward. There's no real reason to have felt shame or embarrassed. Well, embarrassment, I think like that's a personal thing. But shame, like there was no shame to it. Humans make mistakes. Someone came to you, you answered it by reflex. So a lot of times, like we put ourselves at this fear of doing things that's going to cause shame, or we beat ourselves up for doing something more because of the shame. And you know what? Our kids are like that too. And we need to teach them that it's okay. Yeah, I felt ashamed, felt embarrassed, but you know what? Apologized, felt better. You guys all said it was good. Within 5 minutes, it was all gone.
It was all gone. And it's so great to go through that experience because feeling that little bit of embarrassment is actually a great teaching mechanism. The embarrassment that's not put on you by other people, the embarrassment that, oh my gosh, I did do something that I can change in the future.
Yeah.
Like you remember that better.
Yeah.
You become a better person. You become a better listener. And that's really what we want for our kids.
And what I love too is that this group of girls that used to be like super duper tight knit because like when it started, they all were at the same school and everything and all within a grade or two of one another. So they knew each other really well. Over time, they have dispersed. They're all at different schools. They don't see each other as often. They have, like you said, their own little sub circles within now. And plus, they've just gone from 8-year-olds to
13-year-olds.
Yeah. They've grown a lot over time. But now they are better understanding how to communicate with one another.
They are. Yes.
And how to communicate with others and how to move through that and how to be responsible and how to earn also the respect of the adults that they're with. Like every single one of those girls now, because that they made it through this trip and they were able to talk to one another. And because trust me, I've been on plenty of those Girl Scout troop trips that were not as smooth as this one.
Yeah.
Where there was a little bit more drama that happened. But I'll be honest with you, part of the drama like was all me again with the whole high blood pressure, anxiety. They're fighting. Just stop fighting.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to get past that. And you need an outlet to get that out too. You need to be able to talk about that with other adults.
Yes. Yes.
And it's hard. It's hard to keep your head about you. But when you start doing it this way, and you see the results of doing it this way, and how for just this little tiny bit of conflict, you then have this really nice calm period for addressing it like openly and helping them problem solve through it, you don't have conflict after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. So like, what were those things again? First thing, they need to recognize the problem.
Recognize the problem and bring everybody together for a solution. Because as we teach in the Happy Framework with have priorities for H, the relationship is the most important priority.
And then we need to let them speak and then ask them to be able to repeat what the other person said.
Yep. That is all about appreciating your kids' concerns. It's what we teach in Happy because it's from a parenting standpoint. But when you're talking with other kids, appreciating the other person's concerns. We really want to make sure they hear the other person's concerns, which is why we ask them to repeat it.
Yes. And then also the first P, they're going to be able to rephrase what the other person said.
Yes. And they're also going to be able to process their own concerns in that moment because they do two things when they process their own concerns. First, they're saying, okay, I realize this is a concern for you. And then they could say their concerns because they know the other person has been heard.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have them help to come to a realistic solution, people. Yep. Something that can actually work.
This is the second P in Happy, problem solving. It's figuring out how to make both sides happy in a mutually agreeable solution.
And the last thing we're going to do is step away from the problem.
Yield the work, which is once you have a problem solved, once you have a solution you're going to try,
let it work.
Let it work. Let it work. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of the No Guilt Mom podcast. If you're interested in joining Calm and Happy Parenting, it's going to be available very, very soon. Make sure you join our challenge. The links are in the show notes, and you'll get all the information about Calm and Happy Parenting opening. Because in that, you're going to learn questioning strategies and exactly how to draw out your kids' concerns with the right types of questions. And all of these things that may be standing in your way, we're going to help you get past. So remember, the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday who is pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.